This entry is called Think for Yourself. I'm going to start with a quote from an article today about, excuse the smoking, nasty habit, and I don't endorse it. One of my weaknesses. But I do believe in thinking for oneself, especially in this country at this period of time. Um, think for yourself, first of all, is I think, an important adage that people should live by in general, but especially when it comes to politics, which is an interest of mine. Mainly because I don't like seeing the amount of parroting that many of the people I meet and my friends are doing these days. It seems that very few people have authentic opinions. Uh, they confuse judgment with opinions. Judgments usually require, just like any jury or judge, a lot of research, a lot of information being interpolated, being digested, looked at closely before you come to a judgment. But most people tend to just have opinions these days, and sometimes they call them judgments. In my good judgment, in my judgment. I read an article today, but I'm going to quote something, and this was an article today in the Times about uh, the U.S. government is preparing itself to declare the Revolutionary Guard in Iran a terrorist organization. Why this article struck me is just because of where we're headed right now. I think as a nation, and um, as a country, is into another war, which we don't actually declare. We call it the war on terrorism, so we need to classify more and more people terrorists. Otherwise, how are we going to continue our war on terrorism? So now we're going to declare the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist organization. So this can be a preface or justification to take military action over there. Because of course we won't declare an actual war. We'll call it a war, and we'll just take a military action. The quote today from a senior Defense Department official is, "We are going to go after any forces that are engaged in activities that are disruptive to the stability and security of Iraq." Of course, he spoke on condition of anonymity, because the subject was pending administration policy. First of all, if you're thinking for yourself, you should be aware of the dehumanizing language that our government officials constantly use. It's not new. It's been going on for a long, long time, long before Bush. But they refer to stability and security, which AKA means not letting people get beheaded, blown up, um, become homeless. See, when you think in those terms, it affects your emotions more. Of course, we all know the famous term collateral damage, which means lives that are worth losing for a greater goal. Collateral damage. Kill 10,000 people, but you call up the great dictator Saddam Hussein. 10,000 lives for Saddam Hussein is collateral damage. But my reaction to this quote is, he says, "We are going to go after any forces that are engaged in activities that are disruptive to the stability and security of Iraq." I say, well then let's go after the American government. Of course, that wouldn't happen, right? They are claiming that Iran is supplying the Taliban in Afghanistan with ammunition and weapons, as well as the Shiite militias in Iraq. Now, for people who want to parrot things and not really do their research or just ask, what's the common sense behind everything that I'm hearing in the papers, in the news, and from these government officials? First of all, one has to understand who we're supporting. Supposedly, we are supporting this new government in Iraq led by Maliki, which is mainly a Shiite-backed government. Anyone who's read the news has seen all these Sunni politicians, the Sunni faith, pull out of the cabinets and protest that they're not being represented correctly in this new government. Maliki, of course, is a Shiite. 80% of Iraq is Shiite. Iran is predominantly Shiite. And this is the government we've put in place to replace Saddam Hussein. So now we have a problem because we're starting to realize, whoa, a lot of these Shiite regimes there, or the Shiite sects there, are not very friendly to Western ideas or United States interests. So we've had a lot of problems with a lot of the Shiite militias, which we have plenty of evidence, if you've been reading the papers, are directly connected to the government we're supporting. A lot of these Shiite militias have people who are representative in their government. And so the problem here, if you look at common sense, is we've decided to now provide arms and military strategy and backing to a lot of these Sunni insurgent groups, the ones that we kicked out of government when we brought down the Saddam Hussein regime. So we're playing both sides of the fence.